Scary telling.
I take a bite of my lamb chop, enjoying the juicy flavor, when I notice the oxygen levels dropping on the monitors. My colleague Noor and I quickly follow safety protocols, alerting the captain and donning our oxygen masks. We wait anxiously for updates as the red alarms on the walls blare loudly. Then the speakers crackle to life, and the captain announces his return from another spaceship. He shares news about replenishing the water supplies and securing more oxygen masks and food. He also mentions the damage done to the cargo bay where Noor and I are stationed by a small group of meteoroids. The captain's determination to save the crew echoes through the intercom as he emphasizes that we're his priority, no matter the risks. As the announcement comes to an end, the captain addresses Noor and me directly, reassuring us that we'll never be abandoned and instructing us to await help to get to the bay's control room. When the intercom cuts off, the red alarms turn green. We're detaching it, I say, my voice shaky, as I take off my mask. I think we're jettisoning the bay of the ship. Noor springs to her feet, checking the monitors again. She notices that the oxygen levels in the room are stable and observes dispatchers coming to our location. As they make their way toward us, she notices them assisting other crew members out of the bay. I quickly tell her to check the door and be mindful of the oxygen levels outside. She secures the door and goes back to her seat. Then, the door creaks open. A dispatcher clad in a hazmat suit walks into the room. I feel a surge of relief and express my heartfelt gratitude to him. Then, another dispatcher pauses at the door, and suddenly I hear a loud thud beside me. I look around to see Noor lying face down in front of her chair. As I try to stand, my legs give out, and I stumble, losing my balance. I collapse to the floor, and my gas mask thumps beside me. My vision becomes foggy, and the room spins around me. I reach out to Noor, struggling to catch my breath, as a puff of fume emanates from the gas mask against my face. I fight against drowsiness, straining to look up and squinting through the blur. I see the first dispatcher standing over me, giggling. "Tell the captain," he says, "we've got ourselves 2 more lambs to eat." My heart races with fear as I realize that the dispatcher is not there to save us, but to hunt us down. I try to crawl towards Noor, but my limbs feel heavy and sluggish. The dispatcher drags her body towards a nearby hatch, and I feel a surge of panic. I try to scream, but my voice comes out weak and muffled. The dispatcher removes his helmet to reveal a sinister grin, and I see his eyes glinting with madness. "You're mine now," he says, "and there's nowhere to run." I try to struggle, but he easily overpowers me. He picks me up by the collar of my uniform and throws me across the room. I crash into a metal cabinet and feel a sharp pain in my shoulder. The dispatcher approaches me slowly, enjoying the terror in my eyes. "You thought you were safe," he says, "but you're never safe in space." I try to scramble away, but he grabs my leg and drags me back. I feel a sharp pain in my head as he hits me with the butt of his gun. My vision blurs, and I struggle to stay conscious as the killer taunts me. "You're weak," he says. "You don't have what it takes to survive out here." I try to shake off the dizziness and push myself up, but my limbs refuse to obey me. The killer approaches me slowly, and I realize that I am trapped with a madman. He grabs my hair and pulls my head back, exposing my neck. I feel his cold breath on my skin, and I try to scream, but my voice comes out as a whisper. "I'm going to enjoy this," he says, raising his gun to my temple. I close my eyes, expecting the worst, but then I hear a commotion outside. The killer curses under his breath and drops me to the ground. I hear the sound of running footsteps, and then the door bursts open. A group of dispatchers enter the room, and the killer backs away slowly. "You're too late," he says. "I've already taken care of them." The dispatchers look at me with concern and then move towards the killer, surrounding him. One of them pulls out a stun gun and fires, but the killer dodges and runs towards the door. I hear the sound of blaster fire, and the killer screams in pain. He collapses to the ground, and the dispatchers rush towards him, checking his pulse. "He's dead," one of them says, turning towards me. "Are you okay?" I nod, feeling a sense of relief and disbelief wash over me. The dispatchers help me to my feet, and I see Noor's body lying nearby. I walk over to her and kneel down, feeling tears welling up in my eyes. The dispatchers stand nearby, giving me space to grieve. After a few minutes, one of them approaches me and puts a hand on my shoulder. "We need to move," he says. "The ship's systems are malfunctioning, and we need to get to the control room." I nod, wiping away my tears, and follow them out of the room. As we make our way through the ship, I feel a sense of unease and paranoia creeping over me. I keep looking over my shoulder, expecting the killer to jump out at any moment. But the dispatchers reassure me that the threat has been neutralized. We reach the control room, and the captain greets us with relief. "We've been trying to contact you," he says. "The ship's systems are failing, and we need to abandon it." I look around the room, seeing the worried faces of the crew, and I feel a sense of dread. "What about the other crew members?" I ask. "We've already evacuated them," the captain says. "But we need to leave now before it's too late." I nod, feeling a sense of resignation and acceptance wash over me. We make our way to the escape pods and launch ourselves into space. As I watch the ship explode behind us, I realize that I've survived against all odds. But the memories of the killer and Noor's death will haunt me for the rest of my life. After escaping the doomed ship, we drift through space in the escape pod. The silence is unnerving, and the only sound is the hum of the engines. As we float, waiting for rescue, I can't help but replay the events in my mind. The killer, Noor's death, and the terror of being trapped with a madman all weigh heavily on me. Suddenly, the intercom crackles to life, and the captain's voice comes through. "We're receiving a distress signal from a nearby ship," he says. "We're going to investigate and see if we can offer assistance." I feel a sense of relief and hope, knowing that we might be rescued soon. But as we approach the ship, I sense that something is wrong. The ship looks abandoned, and there's no sign of life on board. The captain orders us to board the ship and search for survivors. As we enter the ship, I feel a sense of unease creeping over me. The ship is dark and foreboding, and I can't shake the feeling that something is watching us. Suddenly, a door slams shut behind us, and we hear the sound of footsteps approaching. "Split up and search for survivors," the captain says, his voice tense. I nod, feeling a sense of fear and dread wash over me. I move towards one of the corridors, shining my flashlight into the darkness. As I walk, I hear the sound of footsteps approaching from behind. I turn around, shining my flashlight, but there's no one there. I continue walking, feeling the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Suddenly, a figure jumps out at me from the shadows, and I scream. It's one of the dispatchers, and he looks relieved to see me. "We need to get out of here," he says. "There's something on this ship, and it's not human." I feel a sense of disbelief and horror wash over me as he leads me towards the others. We regroup and share what we've found. "We need to get out of here now," the captain says. "I don't know what's on this ship, but it's not safe." As we make our way back to the escape pod, we hear the sound of something following us. We run, trying to outrun the creature, but it's too fast. Suddenly, one of the crew members disappears, and we hear her screams echoing through the corridors. We have to keep moving, the captain says, his voice urgent. We're almost there. As we reach the escape pod, I feel a sense of relief and hope wash over me. But as we prepare to launch, I see the creature emerge from the darkness. It's unlike anything I've ever seen, with glowing eyes and razor-sharp claws. It leaps towards us, and we scramble to get the pod door closed. As the creature slams into the door, I feel a sense of terror and helplessness wash over me. But somehow, we manage to launch the pod and escape. As we drift through space, waiting for rescue, I realize that the killer was just the beginning of the horrors that awaited us in the void of space. After narrowly escaping the alien creature on the abandoned ship, we drift through space, waiting for rescue. The tension is palpable, and I can feel the fear and anxiety radiating from my fellow survivors. As we wait, we discuss our next steps. The captain suggests that we try to contact other ships in the area and request assistance. But before we can put the plan into action, the intercom crackles to life, and we hear a distress signal coming from another nearby ship. We have to help them, the captain says, his voice urgent. It could be our only chance to get off this death trap. We launch the escape pod and head towards the source of the distress signal. As we approach the ship, we realize that it's a transport vessel carrying cargo and crew members. But as we board the ship, we realize that it's been overrun by the same alien creature that attacked us before. The crew members are dead, and the ship is in disarray. We split up and search for survivors, but it's clear that the situation is dire. We have to get out of here, one of the crew members says, her voice trembling. But as we try to make our escape, the creature appears, blocking our path. It's larger and more menacing than before, and I can feel my heart pounding in my chest. The captain orders us to defend ourselves, and we fight back with everything we have. Blaster fire and screams fill the air as we battle the creature. We use everything at our disposal, from makeshift weapons to our wits. But it's clear that the creature is too powerful for us to defeat. It's immune to our weapons, and its strength is unmatched. Just as it seems like all hope is lost, I notice something glinting on the floor. It's a shard of metal from the damaged cargo bay on our previous ship. I pick up the shard and charge towards the creature, using it as a makeshift spear. I aim for its weak spot, the glowing eyes, and thrust the shard forward. To my surprise, the creature recoils, screeching in pain. I realize that I've hit a vital spot, and I keep thrusting the shard forward, channeling all of my fear and anger into the attack. Finally, the creature collapses to the ground, motionless. We look at each other in disbelief, realizing that we've somehow managed to defeat the alien creature. As we make our escape from the ship, I feel a sense of relief and triumph wash over me. But I also know that we've been forever changed by the horrors we've experienced. We make our way towards the rescue ship, knowing that we'll never forget the terror of being hunted by an alien creature in the void of space. After defeating the alien creature and being rescued by a passing ship, we finally return to Earth. But even though we're back on solid ground, I can't shake the feeling that the horrors of space are still with me. I go through the motions of debriefing and therapy sessions, trying to process what happened to us. But I can't help but feel a sense of isolation and disconnection from the world around me. As the weeks pass, I try to resume my normal life, but I find it difficult to connect with people. My mind keeps drifting back to the horrors of space and the friends I lost. One day, I receive a message from the captain of our ill-fated ship. He invites me and the other survivors to a reunion to honor the memory of those we lost and to celebrate our survival. At first, I'm hesitant to attend, but something inside me urges me to go. I arrive at the reunion, and I'm surprised by how good it feels to be around people who understand what I've been through. As we share stories and memories, I realize that the experience has changed us all in profound ways. We've all been touched by the horrors of space, and we've all come out on the other side, scarred but alive. As the night wears on, the captain proposes a toast, and we raise our glasses to the memory of our lost friends and to our own survival. And in that moment, I realize that even though the horrors of space will always be with me, I'm not alone. I have a group of survivors who understand what I've been through, and who are there for me in ways that no one else can be. As the reunion comes to a close, I feel a sense of closure and peace wash over me. I know that the horrors of space will always be a part of me, but I also know that I have the strength to face whatever the universe throws at me. And I know that I'll always be grateful for the survival and the bond that we share, forged in the depths of space.